Hey everybody, today we're going to have a look at the lighting on my 125 gallon native tank here. We're probably going to look at my 125, my other 125 as well, but I want to change the lighting on this tank in particular, and the reason I want to change it is because it's an unusual sized tank and I have to have two different sets of lights on it. It's a 6-foot long tank, and the way I've got the lighting set up now is I have a 4-foot shop light down the middle of the tank, and then that leaves me 1 foot on either end where I have a big dark spot. So to compensate, I've put, I call them dome lights, but they come as clamp lights. If you go to any big box store, hardware store or something, you can buy these little inexpensive aluminum reflectors with a little spring-loaded clamp on the side of them. They're just meant for basic utility. You can clamp a light where you need it. They're not meant to be attractive or anything else. They only cost about $10. But I always just take the clamp part off, and it leaves me with an aluminum dome reflector with a light socket in it. And it's a simple, easy way to put some lighting somewhere on top of a tank. The issues I run into, in this case, I do want to switch the tank fully over to LED. The new shop light I put in there is an LED shop light. It's low budget, but it's really effective. I've actually got 3 of them now. I really like them. So I want to convert the tank fully over to LED. And I've been shopping around for a good light that will work within that aluminum dome. The issue I have is the bulbs keep coming out too long, and that's the same issue I'm having with putting a good compact fluorescent in it. If we look over here at my 125, we can see it's the same situation, and when we look up here at the dome light, you can see how the dome sits flush on the glass. It's the aluminum that's in contact with the glass. If we look directly across the bottom of it, you don't see light bulbs sticking out at all. And that's what you want. You want the aluminum to be touching the glass. If the light bulb itself is touching the glass, you've got a hot spot right smack in contact with the glass, and it's a good way to break your glass aquarium hood. I've done it in the past. It's very common if you've got that light, even if you've got a really hot light sitting up there. But if you've got a compact fluorescent, that shouldn't be too hot, and as long as it's not in physical contact with the glass, you should be okay. The problem I run into with my 125 over here is, in order to get a bright enough light to really light this tank up the way I want, the bulbs are just too big, and both of these on either end just barely comes in contact with the glass. So you can see it wobbles. And we've got broken glass. I just checked this morning as I went to have a look at the new LEDs I bought. Both ends are the same way. Cracked glass. And that is because if you look across here, you see how the bulb sticks out further than the aluminum does? It's the actual bulb that's touching the glass there, and now I've got 2 broken aquarium hoods as a result. So what I did was I bought some LED floodlights that would go in there, and they would cover the end very nicely. And I shopped around and I shopped around because I was looking for something really specific. I wanted one that had a flat front on it. If we can get a profile of that. So even if it didn't, work within the dome, I could just set it down flat right on the glass by itself and it would be fine. Remember, this is an LED. It doesn't get very hot. This is a plastic housing. I wanted one that was more or less clear so you could actually see the light beams, if you will, shining through the water. I didn't want one with the white frosted cover over it so it would diffuse the light. And I needed one that was short enough to fit inside the globe, like I was saying, hopefully. If not, it wasn't that big a deal because, as I said, I got the one with the flat front. It won't, sit and rock like one of the rounded ones would. It also is the proper color temperature. The other issue I kept running into is I can find a bunch of them that fit everything I need, except they're all 3000 or 2700K. The shop light in here is 5000K, and so that's what I was looking for. I wanted another 5000K replacement, just like these compact fluorescents are. You can't really tell a difference between the color temperature between the compact fluorescent and the LED at the moment. So the other ones I tried, you could really see a color temperature difference. It was orange versus white, and it was just really unattractive. So I finally found these after looking around to find all the parameters and everything I wanted. The one thing I failed to notice is these are not floodlights, they're spotlights. And they are 25 degree. They're very, very tight spots. So I haven't screwed one onto the tank yet, you know, and put one in one of these domes. Once I saw the glass was cracked there, I decided we could just go ahead and do the whole video, and we'll show you start to finish. I'm more than likely not going to keep these on the tanks because it's going to look like a flashlight in either side shining straight down. It really is. A 25 degree angled beam is a really, really tight angle. I was looking more for like 125 to maybe 140 degree angle, so 25 degrees is tight. So let me go ahead and screw at least one of these in, and we'll have a look at what it looks like before and after. So there's your before, I guess, and there's your after. So it's a pretty extreme difference. I went ahead and put one in both ends just so we could get a look at what it looks like on both sides. Here, we can walk around. I told you it was going to look like a flashlight sitting on top of there shining straight down. So 25 degrees is a very, very narrow angle for a spotlight. But you know what? As unnatural as it looks, I don't hate it. Let's get all the way back here and we'll see the whole tank. I don't think I'm going to leave it that way, but I don't know. I might leave it that way the rest of today just to see. I don't know. Like I said, I don't hate it, but it just looks really unnatural at the same time. It's definitely not the effect I was going for. So fortunately, I do have something I can use these other I can use these for something else somewhere else, so I don't really have to worry about returning them or anything. But boy, it just really shines a bright spot right down there. Can you imagine if I left this on here? Can you imagine the algae and stuff I'd have growing right around this area? That's just a lot of light in one spot. So that's only an 11 watt LED, and it's 5000K. And I wound up getting a 4-pack of them. As I said, I was going to put 2 on this tank, and then we were going to also put 2 over here on my 125, and I just really don't think I'm going to do that. This tank is the exact same situation. It's got one of those LEDs down the middle, and then it's got compact fluorescents on either end, and you just really can't tell the difference. So on this tank, I'm not worried about it. I'm not really, you know, I don't need to do anything. The big clump of floating water Sprite on the left is kind of causing me issues. I've thinned it out recently so the light penetrates a little better now, but it doesn't take long for that to get thick again, and I don't get a lot of light penetration. So I was actually looking for something a little more intense, like one of these LED floodlights. Of course, that will ramp up the growth, and you know, it'll just make it all worse all the way around. But it'll be nice to get these tanks switched over to LEDs all the way around if I can. So I'll keep looking. I'll shop around some more and see if I can't find something that's a little more suitable. That, just like I said, I don't think is going to cut it as far as looking very unnatural to me. So we'll see. As I said, I've got something else in mind that I can do with them, and we'll shoot some video. We'll talk about that a little bit later. So make sure you're subscribed. That way you won't miss anything else I've got coming up. I will continue shopping around, like I said. We'll see if we can't do something else with this tank. Don't forget, it is my 125. I'm sorry, this one's my 125-gallon native tank. My 125 is the other one we just looked at. So anyway, make sure you're subscribed. That way you won't miss any of it. So thanks again for watching this one, and I'll see you real soon in the next one.